Hey man, I'm Chris with Phone Cats, and there was an expansion for Magic the Gathering Duels of the Planeswalker 2014. Get excited! This is the Bounce and Boon deck, and it's all about infinite recursion. Normally I go through cards one at a time, and I don't know, we'll probably still end up doing that, but I just want to, while I still have your sharp attention, this deck is going to go infinite through recursion. Here's one of the big pieces, Dust Elemental. So if you like combo decks, this is a combo deck disguised as all creatures. I have 60 cards in this deck. There's 36 creatures and 24 lands. So as I scroll through these, every single card has power and toughness in the bottom right corner. So your opponent isn't going to have enough removal. I mean, I can tell you that out the gate. When everything is a creature, and like I said, this deck is about infinite benefits from enter the battlefield effect. So it really feels a lot like the green deck from Duels 2013 that was all about bounce. I forgot what the title is right now. But yeah, your first turn play is your only option is a Soul Warden, or at least for this build that I'm doing. No, that's the first thing. So turn 1 Soul Warden, or just playing your planes is going to be your normal routine. Turn 2, you can play your Skyfisher, but you have to return a permanent to your hand. And you're not going to want to bounce a planes at this point, even though that's an option. And you're not really going to want to bounce your Soul Warden unless you have to. If you don't like the fact that that guy is a 2/3 flyer, then you have the option to go with the White Mane Lion, which is a 2/2 with flash. So now all of a sudden it became a surprise. It becomes a huge, a much bigger surprise with some other mechanics down the line. But yeah, you got a couple more turn 2 plays though. Here's these Lone Missionaries, and this is 2 mana for a 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, gain 4 life. I mean, seems solid, like a nice, decent creature spread, a lot of bounce. And we can already see the life gain tricks. While we're still just on the 2-drops, do you already see the kind of combo? Let's just say you do turn 1 Soul Warden, turn 2 Lone Missionary. You're at 25 on turn 2. Your opponent probably has a land out, and you've already gained 5 life. That's fine. And then everything else that you're going to do bounces more creatures. So turn 1 Soul Warden, turn 2 Lone Missionary, turn 3 you can play a Core Skyfisher or a White Mane Lion or an Emancipation Angel, which has the same, when it enters the battlefield, return a permanent you control to your hand effect. So you bounce your Lone Missionary and recast it and gain 4 life. I mean, that's gonna slow down a lot of decks. Burn deck is going to be mad about that. Chandra. Life gain just really changes the pace for a lot of decks. So you can just kind of do that as your warm-up combo or warm-up routine, and that's a good way just to keep you going. And every time that you recast the Lone Missionary, if you have 1 Soul Warden in play, you're gaining 5 life. 1 from the Soul Warden and then 4 from the Missionary. So there's that Emancipation Angel. It's a pretty strong play as long as you're bouncing something that you're just going to recast. Okay, Flickerwisp. The combo goes another layer deeper. 3 mana for a 3/1 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, exile another target permanent. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So anything with an enter the battlefield effect is going to re-trigger. So you can gain life. You gain life off of your Soul Wardens. If this thing comes back into play, then you'll bounce a permanent. Same thing for your White Lion. It makes everything just a layer deeper, and then you can bounce. You can bounce your Core Skyfisher, and then recast it to bounce your Flickerwisp. And do you see how we're already getting to this weird repeat kind of thing? I mean, you could do it with just a Soul Warden. 1 Soul Warden and 2 Core Skyfishers, or a White Mane Lion, or you could sub out an Emancipation Angel And then from there, you're just recasting these 2-drops over and over and over to gain life and benefit from little creatures entering the battlefield effects. This deck is weird, man. Okay, so now we're kind of done with cards that bounce and cards that bring creatures into the battlefield again. Now we're getting to some of the creatures that you're going to be recurring over and over. Core Hookmaster, 3 mana for a 2/2. When this enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So if you find a way to recast this, you're just tapping one of their creatures and it doesn't untap. So it clears the path for you to attack, and it's not going to attack you next turn. And once you hit 5 mana, I mean, if you have a Core Hookmaster out, every time that you draw a Skyfisher or a White Mane Lion, you know that you have the ability to bounce that and then do that again. Let's keep moving. Tapping one creature is cool, but we're going to get to some way better stuff. Solemn Simulacrum. 4 mana for a 2/2. Pretty average. But when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card and put it into play. Tapped. Who cares that it's tapped? It's really rare to have mana acceleration. And that's what this is. Normally it would put it into your hand, but this one just throws it right into play. That's really cool. And it's an artifact, so that could be ran in any deck, but in this deck, I really like it. I mean, you could chump block with this dude to declare a blocker, and then play a White Mane Lion and bounce it back to your hand, and then recast it and get another land. It's just gonna thin your deck, and even if you do actually chump block it and let it die, when it dies, you draw a card. So if you can bounce this once or twice, let's say you bounced it once and you thinned your deck out 2 lands, and then when it dies you even draw a card, I don't know, that's fine by me. Restoration Angel, most people know this one. 4 mana for a 3/4 flyer with flash, so you can cast it on your opponent's turn or in response to your Simulacrum blocking or anything. And when this thing enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-angel creature you control and then return it to the battlefield under your control. So it comes back instantly. You don't have to wait till the end of your turn. Things can get really heavy. Like if you... it's hard to even explain sometimes. Let's say your opponent was attacking and you chump blocked with a Flickerwisp, just trying to kill their dude. In response to you declaring it a blocker, you could cast Restoration Angel, targeting the Flickerwisp. The Flickerwisp enters back into play. And you could target a permanent. Okay, I thought I just went infinite, but that's not the case. But you could target your own Restoration Angel, and then it goes away. Dude, I am so confused. Is there a combo with Flickerwisp and Restoration Angel? Let's just keep rolling. This deck could be the new blue deck, to where once someone got that Time Warp infinite combo, whatever the right card is, this deck could go infinite. It's kind of disgusting. Dust Elemental, we've harped on this. This is the big piece of the combo. 4 mana for a 6/6 flash, flying, fear. So I think we're up to 3 cards now. Both of these, Restoration Angel and our 2 White Mane Lions. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards with flash and bounce. So your opponent is always going to expect it or be afraid. Flash, flying, and fear. So I believe this can only be blocked by white creatures, or maybe artifact creatures also. And when Dust Elemental enters the battlefield, return 3 creatures you control to owner's hand. So every time your opponent tries to remove something, hopefully you'll have the mana open to basically counterspell it, because you just cast a quick flash creature and it pops it right back to their hand. But let's keep moving though. When you're bouncing 3 creatures though, you're able to bounce this, and you're able to either bounce one of your angels or one of your Skyfishers or a White Mane Lion, in addition to whatever your little combo trick is. And this deck has a lot of combo tricks. This is infinite tapping a creature. That's close to infinite life gain. With your Soul Wardens, everything just gets more delicious. You can do infinite deck thinning. Here is Infinite Fogs. 4 mana, 1/4, Rhino Soldier. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent skips his or her next combat phase. So it's basically this. It's not really, but this taps one creature, then makes it not untap. And then this just basically makes your opponent unable to attack during their next turn. So it doesn't tap them. They're still going to be there to block you. But if you go infinite with that, there's some decks that can't do anything about it. Oh man, the other cards are all so crazy. It only gets more amped up from here. Here's a weird win con. This is a win condition. 5 mana for a 3/3. When Cloud Goat Ranger enters the battlefield, you put 3 1/1 white Kithlin soldiers onto the battlefield, and you can tap 3 of them to give this dude +2/+0. I might pull this out. It seems kind of mediocre. I mean, turn 5, you play it and get a 3/3, and then you can tap dudes 3 at a time to give this guy only +2/+0. And I know what they want. They want you to go infinite with it, and then every turn just keep making more 1/1s. And maybe that's the better way to do it, because tapping 3 just to give him +2/+0 seems weak. Even if you did bounce this dude 3 times and now you have 9 1/1s, I think those 9 1/1s are a little bit cooler than just being able to attack with this dude and give him flying and +6/+0 for tapping 9 dudes. Maybe I'm missing something, or maybe it's just part of the delay, or maybe I should take that card out. Duplicant. Infinite removal. Infinite exiled removal. Oh my god, if you hit your Duplicant combo, people will just quit. The Duplicant combo is the equivalent of getting a panoptic mirror or pantopic mirror with a time warp on it. Almost. But it feels just as delicious. 6 mana for a 2/4 imprint. When Duplicant enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-token creature. As long as the exiled card is a creature card, Duplicant has that card's power, toughness, and creature types. I keep thinking that it gets abilities, but it doesn't. And it's still a shapeshifter. Okay, so Duplicant has that card's power and toughness. The thing is, dude, once you hit Duplicant, you can bounce him, and the creature stays exiled. So turn 6, I mean, hopefully you can wait till turn 8 and protect him with like a white mane lion or something like that. But turn 6, Duplicant, I copy your dude, and it gets exiled. And then next turn, bounce it. The combo is Duplicant plus Dust Elemental. It takes a lot of mana, it takes a lot of time, but once you get that, every turn you're just exiling their creature. And bouncing something else, you're probably gaining life in the mix, and they probably dumped all their removal because everything in your deck is a creature. And each one looks a little bit scary. And they know that if you get close to a combo, you're just going to go infinite. So Duplicant, there's only one of them. I don't think this deck has any recursion, so don't let him die. You always want to be able to keep him safe. Sun Titan. I don't know if this card is needed, but I've lost to him, and it was really frustrating. The amount of recursion that he generates is sick. Oh, and I guess he is recursion, so I just said that there isn't any recursion. 6 mana, 6/6 Vigilance. When Sun Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, you may return target permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So let's look. Everything that costs 3 or less is coming straight from the graveyard into play. So you can do your Hookmasters and tap something. So turn 6, you can tap a creature of your choice, if you have one of those in your graveyard. Turn 3, you can Flickerwisp. See, dude? Oh my god, the combos just continue to reveal themselves. What if you do, what if you play a Sun Titan and you target a Flickerwisp? So when this thing enters the battlefield or attacks, you bounce a Flickerwisp. And then when your Flickerwisp comes into play, you target your Sun Titan. Exile another target permanent, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. And then when your Sun Titan comes back into play from being exiled, his ability goes again. So then you get to look through your graveyard again. So that dude in his own right is infinite graveyard recursion for everything under 3. So your Emancipation Angels work too, which just further the bounce. You can get your lone missionaries that you chump blocked with, bouncing a white mane lion and getting a creature. That's just the same. That's the same as getting a Skyfisher because you don't benefit from flash. Or just throwing in another Soul Warden. Why not? That makes me want to look at every creature that's under 3 that I'm not running and wonder why I'm not running it, or if. And I got these Attendant Knights. They're okay. The one thing that I'm probably should be running is this Blade Splicer. It's 3 mana for a 1/1, and when it enters the battlefield, put a 3/3 colorless Golem artifact creature on the battlefield. And then Golem creatures you control have first strike. So if you can just start spamming out an army of 3/3s with first strikes, that's really intimidating. So I need to find room for that. But it's hard for me to decide, dude. I don't know where to build this deck right now. So we just touched base on the Sun Titans and their infinite graveyard recursion. That's only 3 mana or less, so that's a little nitpicky. Okay, that's it for 3s. Let's start moving. Now we get to some late game board wipes. So everything in this deck is a creature. And so no matter what, you're going to have creatures on the board. And it's really doubtful that you're going to be overwhelmed, because you can either just chump block with stuff, or your opponent's going to be alpha striking you, and you're just going to be feebly throwing out blockers as fast as you can. But if you can hold off until turn 6 and have a Sunblast Angel, they're probably not going to see it coming, or if they do see it coming, it's going to make them slow their roll. 6 mana 4/5 for a 4/5 Flying Angel, and when Sunblast Angel enters the battlefield, destroy all tapped creatures. So you're just banking on the fact that your opponent's alpha striking you, swinging with everything as aggressive as possible every turn, and then you play Sunblast Angel, destroy all tapped creatures, you still got your dudes, you're sitting pretty. And if you make it to late game, if you hit a Dust Elemental and you're bouncing a Sunblast Angel, your opponent can't come back from that. I mean, of course they can, but it's really daunting. Here's some more token generation. Captain of the Watch. It's a lady. 6 mana for a 3/3 Vigilance. Other soldier creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Vigilance. I don't even know how many other soldiers are in this deck, so let's do a quick scan. This dude's a soldier. Rhino Soldier. He'd get buffed. Oh my god, your core Hookmasters are soldiers. Angel. Monks, they're not soldiers. Those guys are soldiers, but Soul Wardens are clerics. Decent amount. I don't know, that's kind of cool. A lot of just little... that would surprise people, or it would surprise me at least the first time. And Vigilance, that's really strong. And then when it comes into play, you put 3 1/1 white soldier tokens. So this is infinite token generation. It only puts as many tokens as this Cloud Goat Ranger, though, so keep that in mind. I don't know, that's just a little odd. Okay, my recording setup is starting to get a little laggy, and we're on the last card. 8 mana, oh my god. All this delay, you can make it there. I hope. That's like my mentality. I'm still like warming up to this deck and feeling it out. Myojin of Cleansing Fire, a legendary creature that's a spirit. 8 mana for a 4/6, and when this thing comes into play, you put a divinity counter on it if you cast it from your hand. Oh no! That ruins so much! Kind of. Will still be cool. That means that you can't do cutesy stuff though. So this guy can't be Flickerwisped. Restoration Angel won't phase him. You gotta hard cast it, so know that. This thing comes in with a token, and then you remove the token, destroy all other creatures. Okay, so you made it late game. You staved off attacks with chump blockers and blocking flyers and life generation and tapping creatures. You did some weird bounce stuff and were able to fog a couple extra times to make sure your opponent couldn't attack. You destroyed all the creatures. They played a whole bunch more, but you somehow made it. Now you got one of these on the board and you're just trying to find your Dust Elemental. Where is he? Bam. So once you hit both of those, and like 12 mana, but it'll happen. you just got infinite board wipes. Infinite destroying every other creature. And you got to be careful with your plays though, because you don't want to have this on the board when you're doing your wipe. So you do your board wipe and then play Dust Elemental. And then one of the 3 creatures that you're going to return to your hand is the own Dust Elemental, along with whatever you're comboing. So Dust Elemental, and you're gaining life from Soul Wardens. A lot of the times you're going to want to do like a Core Skyfisher or a White Mane Lion is really cool, just to always have that flash protect. Or if you're low on life, you can start bouncing Lone Missionaries. Flickerwisps just get even thicker. You can do core Hookmasters to tap that huge Artesian or huge Eldrazi they have. You got Infinite Fogs right there, making them skip their attack phase. Infinite Tokens. Infinite Exiling Creatures and Creature Control. This one is Infinite Graveyard Recursion under 3. Infinite Destroy Tapped Creatures. Infinite Tokens. And Infinite Board Wipes. Just destroy all other creatures. So that's how I built this deck, and it plays like a fun combo deck. It's not even a control combo deck. And if I did want to make it more control-y, I'd probably be running those pacifisms. I don't know. I think if I was smart, I'd have room for that Blade Splicer. I don't even know what to take out for that. Or you can build this deck just as a flying creature deck with emphasis on these Light from Within. 4 mana, Chroma. Each creature you control gets +1/+1 for each white mana symbol and its casting cost. So Soul Wardens get a +1/+1. Those guys get +1/+1. Lions and Lone Missionaries get +1/+1. Emancipation Angels and Flickerwisps get +2/+2. Your Core Spirit or Core Hookmasters get 1. Dust Elemental becomes an 8/8. Your Angel gets a 1 buff. Dignitaries 1 buff. Cloud Goat gets 2. Sun Titans get 2. Sunblast Angel gets 2. Captain of the Watch gets 2. And Myojin gets +3/+3. It's pretty solid. There's a lot more weird life gain mechanics. Archon of Redemption is one worth considering. 5 mana for a 3/4 flyer. When an Archon of Redemption or another creature with flying enters the battlefield on your side, under your control, you can gain life equal to its power. Little funky. A lot of people are vibing with these. Cathar's Crusade. 4 mana, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So if you're doing the cute bounce deck, and you're just bouncing that Soul Warden as fast as you can, and giving all your dudes +1/+1, that's crazy. Let's say you just hit, let's say it was something as casual as an Emancipation Angel, and a Core Skyfisher, something that you have 3 of each, and then you can even replace it with a Restoration Angel, with a couple other things. But if it's one of those 8 cards, as fast as you can be putting +1/+1 counters on all your dudes. And in this deck with all creatures, you're gonna have tons of creatures, and it's very likely that you can hit both of those. And then you're just paying 2 mana over and over and over again. Cast this, bounce this. Cast that, bounce this. Back and forth. 2 mana, 2 mana, 2 mana, 2 mana. And each time you do it, I mean, in a weird way, you're playing an Honor the Pure each time. Infinitely. So I might need to take a look at that. That just seems really hard to deny. I might need to tweak this deck already. There's a lot of mediocre stuff that I feel like I skipped over. Yeah, I'm not really feeling anything else. I touched on the pacifisms and that Blade Splicer. I touched on the things that do buffs. That Cathar's Crusade's probably the best. There's 3 of these guys, 6 mana for a 1/1, and when it comes into play, you put a 4/4 Angel into play. So you can go infinite Angel generation. That's a little weird. They give you 4 of these guys. 7 mana for a 4/4 with First Strike. How peculiar. And when Ancestor's Chosen enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life for each card in your graveyard. So that's another weird one of like, hey, I'm just going to gain all this life. If you're really crazy, you can play these Mirror Battle Spheres, and here is why. I guess we'll end with this. This will be the closer. 7 mana for a 4/7. When it comes into play, put 4 1/1 colorless mirror artifact creature tokens into the battlefield. And let's say you did that and then you bounced it once with your white main lion. And then you recast it. And the next turn you attack. It doesn't look very threatening, right? I mean, you got 8 1/1s, but they're all 1/1s. And this thing's only a 4/7 that you're attacking with, right? Okay, when Mirror Battlesphere attacks, you may tap X, untapped mirror you control. If you do, Mirror Battlesphere gets +X/+O until end of turn, and deals X damage to defending player. Wow, so you played this Mirror Battlesphere late game, you bounced it once with like one of your little 2-drop bouncers that you have 5 of. So turn 7, Mirror Battlesphere. Let's say, oh, and you even have mana acceleration, so you could be doing this a turn earlier or 2. But whatever, you attack with it, you tap your 8 dudes. Okay, so this thing gets +8/+O, that's cool. Bumps it up to a 12/7, that's pretty strong. And you tapped your 8 dudes, so it gets the +8/+O, and it deals 8 damage to defending player. Wow, so they just get popped for 8 damage. And you're attacking with this dude that's a 4, and he gets the X buff, so he goes up to 12. So this is a 12/7 that you attack with, and you deal 8 damage to them. 12 + 8 is 20. This is a one-shot kill in this deck, and I'm not running it. Mirror Battlesphere. All you need is a Mirror Battlesphere, a clear path, and 1 bounce. So you cast it, and you could even just make an army of 1/1s that was insane, and then Alpha Strike them for 20. Plus, not even caring if this thing dies. Oh my god, I might need to find room for that in this deck. We'll stop there on that little epiphany. I mean, there's 3 different ways to generate 1/1 swarms in this deck. This thing, the Mirror Battlesphere, and then these 2 other late game ones. Your Captain of the Watch, and then even your Cloud Goat Ranger. 3 of them, and then 4 of them. I don't know, this deck's really weird. I'm still feeling it out. I love that it's all creatures, but they're all combo-y. None of these are grizzly bears with no abilities. Each creature that you draw is like a spell in its own right. Like, you're basically unsummoning your own dude to re-abuse his enter the battlefield effects. Really crazy deck, man. Fun to play. When you lose, it'll hurt your ego, because it makes it seem like you didn't have a chance. But once you go infinite, people will leave. That's it for this vid. This is Bounce and Boon, and thanks for watching. Boncats.